You're watching South Asia Newsline, and here are the top stories we're tracking for you on Tuesday, the 13th of June. India denies Jack Dorsey's claims it threatened to shut down Twitter. Pakistanis wary of budget promises amid severe economic crisis. And Sri Lanka extends freeze on outward capital transactions. And now for all the details. India on Tuesday rejected Twitter's co-founder Jack Dorsey's claim that the Indian government threatened the social media giant with a shutdown if they failed to restrict accounts critical of its handling of the farmers' protest. Accusing the Indian government of putting pressure on Twitter, Dorsey, in an interview to a YouTube channel, said that the Indian authorities also threatened of raiding officials' residences if they failed to comply with the government orders. India's Deputy IT Minister Rajeev Chandrasekhar has called the assertions an outright lie. Chandrasekhar said Twitter under Dorsey had repeatedly violated Indian laws, and it was not until June 2022 that they finally adhered to it. He further accused Dorsey of misusing power to selectively de-amplify and de-platform people both in India and abroad.
They were exposed. So therefore, today for Jack Dorsey to suddenly wake up from his slumber and to try and rebrush the history of Twitter's conduct and so far without any consequences is to essentially say what I said in my tweet, that it is a total outright lie.
जैक डॉर्सी ने वही बात कही जो हम में से कई लोगों का शक था कि सरकार अपने दायरे से बाहर जा करके जिसको कहते हैं ना कि एक डिक्टेटोरियल पैराडाइम के रूप में काम कर रही है.
While Twitter and the Indian government have been engaged in long battle over content on the platform, Indian authorities have maintained if the social media giant wants to work in India, they need to follow its rules and that the law of the land is supreme. And Indian authorities on Tuesday began evacuating people from its western coastal areas 2 days before a powerful cyclone approaches India's Gujarat state and parts of neighboring Pakistan. Classified as a very severe cyclonic storm, Biparjoy is expected to make landfall around Thursday evening with maximum sustained wind speed of 125 to 135 kilometers. So far, Indian authorities have evacuated nearly 8,000 people, and the number is likely to cross 50 to 60,000 before the cyclone's landfall. Teams of National and State Disaster Response Force are also being deployed for rescue work.
અત્યાર સુધીમાં 8,000 લોકોનું સ્થળાંતર કરી દેવામાં આવ્યું છે. આજ સ્થળાંતર માટેનો મહત્વનો દિવસ છે. તમામ એનજીઓ પણ કામમાં લાગી છે.
Similar preparations were also underway in Pakistan's Karachi, which is likely to get affected from the cyclone. Authorities in the port city had stopped issuing fishing permits and have recalled the boats from the sea. Weather authorities have warned Karachi could suffer substantial damage in a short space of time.
हमें जो है ना इत्तला मिल चुकी है. एमएसए वालों ने, नेवी वालों ने, कस्टम वालों ने जो है ना पीसीआर भी इशू करना बंद कर दी है. जो हमारी लाचें कश्तियाँ जो भी बाहर थी ना, उन्हें हमने वापसी बुला लिया जेटियों पे ना. तो हिफाजती मकाम पे उन्हें भी रोक दिया है, और अगर अल्लाह ना करे अगर तूफान आ भी जाता है ना, तो हम लोग खुद भी महफूज मकाम पे जाएंगे.
While Pakistanis have said they are wary of the new budget, which they believe will bring no substantial relief for them. They say they are fed up of grappling with record high inflation. A report.
People across crisis-hit Pakistan have been by and large wary of the government's promises in the federal budget for the next fiscal year announced last Friday, which will be gauged by the IMF before releasing a pending bailout package. The budget sets $50.45 billion as total spending target. It also targets debt servicing of 7.3 trillion rupees. Bilateral creditors made up $37 billion of Pakistan's debt in the fiscal year 2021, out of which $23 billion is owed to China, according to an IMF country report released last year.
इसके अंदर रिलीफ जो है ना लोगों के लिए कोई भी नहीं है, इसलिए कि ये बजट जो है ना वो आर्जी है. जैसी नई हुकूमत आएगी वो IMF से नया मुआहदा करेगी, उसके बाद मिनी बजट आ जाएगा. ये सिर्फ लोगों को खुश करने के लिए, इसलिए उन्होंने इलेक्शन में जाना है. इलेक्शन में जाने के लिए कुछ चीज़ें जो कर भी रहे हैं, सिर्फ वहाँ जो फ़ायदा होगा वो गवर्नमेंट जो सर्वेंट हैं उनकी जो तनख्वाहों में इजाफा है उन्हीं को फ़ायदा होगा।
Pakistan is grappling with record inflation, fiscal imbalances and critical levels of reserves that cover barely a month worth of imports. People say they are fed up of reforms which have no relief for them.
उम्मीद है सी कि गरीब के लिए कोई रिफिल मिलेगा, लेकिन गरीब के लिए तो कुछ नहीं मिला। उन्होंने सरकारी मुलाजमों की तनख्वाहें बढ़ाई हैं, गरीब तो वही महंगाई की चक्की में पिस रहा है। महंगाई 18% और बढ़ा दी है। जो गरीब 600-700-800 रुपया कमाता है दिन को, वो अपने बच्चों का रिज़्क कैसे पूरा करेगा?
And the International Labour Organization's senior coordinator for Afghanistan, Dr. Ramin Behzad, on the occasion of the World Day Against Child Labour, warned of an increase in the number of Afghan children who are engaged in work generally and mainly with hazardous jobs. Behzad said more than 1 million children were engaged in labour in Afghanistan in 2021 between the age of 5 to 17. UNICEF also said that 1 in 5 children in Afghanistan is engaged in child labour. Rights groups have raised concerns over Afghanistan's ongoing economic crisis, with more than 28 million children and adults in need of humanitarian support. The situation has forced many people to send children to work even in dangerous environments. And Bangladesh's Foreign Secretary Masud bin Momen on Monday met the UN Resident Coordinator Gin Lewis and asked the world body to engage more effectively with the Myanmar government to commence early repatriation of the Rohingya refugees. More than 1 million Rohingya have been crammed into the camps in southeastern Bangladesh, the world's largest refugee settlement. Most fled the crackdown by Myanmar's military almost 6 years ago, although some have been there for longer. Densely populated Bangladesh says repatriation to Myanmar is the only solution to the crisis. Local communities have been increasingly hostile towards the Rohingya as funding by international aid agencies for the refugees has dwindled. Sri Lanka's government has decided to extend a restriction on outward capital transactions by 6 months due to pressure on its limited foreign exchange reserves, Cabinet spokesperson Bandula Gunawardena said on Tuesday. The decision will be revisited after debt talks are finalized in September, Gunawardena said, who is also the transport minister. The IMF expects Sri Lanka's crisis-hit economy to shrink by about 3% this year. The government expects to return to growth next year. Economic prospects have benefited from moderating inflation, a stronger currency and lower interest rates in recent months. And Indian women hockey players received a warm welcome as they arrived back home on Tuesday after winning the Women's Hockey Junior Asia Cup in Japan. The Indian squad, in a historic shutdown, triumphed over the four-time champions South Korea with a 2-1 victory, securing the maiden title for India. The feat has helped them qualify for the 2023 Women's Junior World Cup in Chile. The players said they will be now focusing to make history again. As a token of appreciation, the Hockey India Executive Board has declared a cash prize of 2 lakh rupees for each player and 1 lakh rupees for the support staff.
जो दिख रहा है ये मेरी टीम की मेहनत है और आज जो एशिया कप में हमारा मेडल आया है इससे ये पता चलता है कि लड़कियां किसी से कम नहीं है और अब हम आगे तैयारी करेंगे वर्ल्ड कप की ताकि हम वर्ल्ड कप में भी मेडल लेके आए.
Well, that's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time tomorrow.